For me, there were a few fights that I just had to have. Is this a fight you just got to have? Nah, not really.
They checking my ink, say they love my graffiti.
Let's put some shots up, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Play a little ball real quick. Get that workout in. And talk about some boxing.
This is for my hustling niggas. This is for my hustling bitches. Pull up with that Aquafina. Yellow boy, her name is Tina. Tina like the hit casinos. Tina could snort a whole kilo. Tina like to fight and argue. Bye bye Tina, bitch, who are you? Met a dark skin chick named Anna. Anna like that marijuana. Anna was from the Bahamas. At least this was.
What's good, everybody? What's good? It's your boy, Cardinal Bud Crawford, or E.S. Red, if that's what you want to call me. And we are back for another one. Alright, y'all, we got a new topic. Errol Spence Jr. will have trouble with Terence Crawford's Southpaw stance, says Shawn Porter. Alright, y'all, so, a lot has been said about both of these fighters. You can watch 1,000,000 hours worth of footage breaking down this fight, man. The fight should have happened a while ago. It didn't. This is just a trend in the sport of boxing that fights that should happen don't happen when they're supposed to happen. They happen when all the stars align and everything is just perfect. So when it comes to both of these fighters and the way that they choose to engage in a boxing ring, we all know that Terence Crawford is a switch hitter. Errol Spence is southpaw. Some people say he's a switch hitter. Some people say he's a southpaw. It depends on who you ask, really. But I think both of these guys could go either way if they decided to, if it was necessary. They've been boxing for so long. Their skill sets have determined that they can punch with both hands. But we all know that Terence Crawford is more used to switch hitting. And I think a lot of people feel like once they do get in the ring, the switch hitting is what's going to push Terence Crawford over the top versus Errol Spence Jr. I beg to differ. When you ask most boxing fans or coaches, analysts, pundits, however you want to put it, what are the most versatile fighting stance, or what is the most versatile fighting stance, and what styles cause, the most fireworks in a boxing ring, it is the southpaw stance. The southpaw stance is unorthodox, and you don't see that stance a lot. But the problem when you put two southpaws in the ring together is that you get a lot of bumping, you get a lot of crashing into each other, you get a lot of movement that isn't fluent because they're both doing the same thing. So both are trying to get to a position in the ring, and it could tangle up feet, it could have you headbutting each other, it could have elbows landing, shots that shouldn't be landing actually landing. So this makes for a fight filled with fireworks. Say that 3 times fast. A fight filled with fireworks is what this fight is going to turn into. And I think you will actually see Terence Crawford go more orthodox in this fight and not as much in the southpaw stance. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because if he does go with that southpaw stance more often, what's gonna happen is he's gonna end up getting head butted a lot. And we all know that Spence is the bigger of the two fighters. So who do you think is gonna get the worst end of that headbutt? Or an elbow, or a punch that you don't see coming. It's going to be Terence Bud Crawford who's going to get the, I think, worst end of that any and every time it happens when they face off. Now, does that mean that Terence Crawford has no chance of winning this fight? I know a lot of people feel like I'm not giving Crawford any type of shot to win this fight. It's not that I don't want to give him a shot to win this fight. I just feel like Errol Spence has the skill sets to counteract anything that he does. Now, we've never seen Bud truly be tested, and especially not at 147. He's either fighting lesser competition, lower competition he doesn't belong in the ring with, or he's facing off with a fighter who's getting ready to go into retirement anyway. Me personally, I think Bud is going to put up a good showing of things. I think he's going to be in there for a few rounds. I think the problem is Spence has breakdown power. Nobody considers Bud a breakdown fighter. Everybody considers Bud, either, depends on who you ask once again, they either think he's a knockout artist, which he's really not, or they think that he is a speed style fighter. They think that speed is going to overwhelm Errol Spence. Now that I totally agree with. I don't see Terence Crawford knocking Errol Spence out, and I know a lot of people keep bringing that, well, he knocked out all his welterweight opponents. He knocked out a bunch of guys that were over the hill and past their prime and should have been retired already. Or he knocked out guys that were just overmatched, period. So I don't put a lot of emphasis on the fact that he has knocked out most of his welterweight competition, with the exception of Shawn Porter. I put an asterisk on that one because Shawn Porter was never knocked out. He was conscious the whole time his team threw in the towel. So you can't even add that in as a knockout. But he got a TKO for that one. But a lot of people like to pretend like he actually knocked Shawn Porter out, which he didn't. Another thing is, those two guys are very good friends, and the proof is in the pudding.
You weren't a rivalry for me. The talking and everything wasn't the same. He's my guy, so I'm going to protect my guy.
Those two guys are very good friends, and I hate when two friends face off at anything. Because, number one, normally in sports, when you have a friend who does the same sport, y'all build up a friendly rivalry, and you guys have already tested your rivalry with one another. You kind of know who's more talented than the other guy is. So if you were to ever be in real competition, I don't think they would be in to actually hurt each other. It would be more to just display each other's skill sets. And the problem with that is one guy could take a dive. One guy could know he's overmatched and just not give a good performance, or even be willing to engage. And I think that's what happened when Terence Crawford fought Shawn Porter, is that they already knew who was the better out of those two guys. Terence Crawford didn't want to hurt Shawn Porter. Shawn Porter didn't want to hurt Terence Crawford. Instead of him taking a knee, you kind of got this weird ending that happened in that fight. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, well, that's not true, blah, blah, blah. This is boxing. You can't play boxing. Listen, two friends should never get in the ring with each other. Two friends should never do any type of combat sports with each other, because you have the potential to hurt your opponent. You have the potential to embarrass your opponent. You have the potential for injuries to be had, and friends usually don't want to put another friend in the hospital. So, I feel like Shawn Porter, Terence Crawford was the prime example of why that should never happen. But when it comes to that southpaw stance, Terence Crawford, Errol Spence, and what Shawn Porter had to say, I don't think Shawn Porter is the right one to actually even narrate why that southpaw stance is going to work for Terence Crawford, because of how their fight ended. It's not like that southpaw stance was the reason that he got the technical knockout over Shawn Porter. Me personally, I think the problem, once again, is going to be with clashes in the ring. What I mean by clashes is elbows clashing with eyes, headbutts happening, feet getting tangled up. I think there's going to be a lot of that if both of these guys are in the southpaw stance. And I think since Errol Spence is the bigger of the two guys, naturally, Terence Crawford is going to be the one who's taking the beating in those situations. And Terence Crawford could be the one who actually might get a bad cut because of an elbow, or a swollen eye because of a headbutt. The potential for fireworks in that manner are very, very high. I think that's it for now. Yeah, I'm done rambling. Hit that like button for me. Share, subscribe. Holler at me on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. But you're more than likely to get a response on the tube, so holler at me over there if you want a response. It's your boy, Cardinal Bud Crawford, or ES Red, if that's what you want to call me. If you want to be featured on the Cardinal Red Sports channel, hit me up on Gmail. I gave out the wrong one yesterday. My Gmail is cardinalred1984@gmail.com. Holla at your boy, and we are mine.
I wouldn't say I gotta have it because, you know, realistically, you know, I'm going to the Hall of Fame with or without it. You know what I mean? I feel like this is a fight more so for all my fans. You know what I mean? And the people that really love boxing.
Who y'all got? Spence Crawford in a 3-point contest. Who gets the most 3-pointers? Who gets the 10 first? Spence Crawford.
Niggas be dissing and snitching and giving description and wake up with crickets and fish.